Um, so we'll start with the presentation. Like I said, my name is Connor Stowe. I'm a global programs advisor for Rustic Pathways. So my role in the organization is I've been with Rustic Pathways for 8 years now, and I've worked in 13 of our different countries, either working with sort of the management of those countries or running trips in those countries themselves. So now I sort of help families talk a little bit about the differences between programs, differences between fields of the countries, and just sort of advise people on what might be the right fit for your student. You'll hear me talk about this a couple times throughout the program or throughout the presentation, but all of our programs in Rustic Pathways are just so unique and designed to sort of appeal to different students. So some programs are going to be a little bit more rugged and rustic, some are going to be a little bit more comfortable, some are going to have more of a focus on community service, some more of a focus on adventure or learning a language or a skill like a photography program. So they're really designed to be unique opportunities for all of our unique students to be able to find something that's a really good fit for them. I'm going to throw it over to a couple of my co-presenters to talk to you a little bit about how they got started with Rustic Pathways, what they do with the organization. And so we'll first start with Amanda, who's our China country director. Take it away, Amanda.
Hi, Connor. Thanks for introducing me. Hi, guys. Nice to have everyone on the call. I'm Amanda. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina originally, and now I'm our China country director. That means I help organize all the programs. I help get the program leaders ready for every program that they're going out on, and I talk to parents when there's any questions or concerns on the programs. And so, yeah, that's me.
Cool, awesome, Amanda. And then I think we have both Sunny and Divya from India, so I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hi, Connor. Thanks for thanks for that. Hi, my name is Sunny. I am India Country Manager. I have been working with Rustic Pathways from past years. I am from west of India, like a city called Jodhpur. I handle in-country operations with Rustic Pathways, and also handle finance and also lead trips with Rustic Pathways. Yeah, and I think I can speak on behalf of Divya. She is also India Country Manager. She has been working with Rustic from past 6 years, and she also handles in India country operations and also handles community service part in India.
Awesome, cool. Yeah, so between us, we'll be the people talking a little bit about our programs today. So I'll get started with the presentation. So I'll move here. So the first thing that we're going to talk about today is we're really going to focus on India, China, and Mongolia. But we're going to talk to you a little bit about who Rustic Pathways is as a whole first. So as a whole, Rustic Pathways operates programs in 19 different countries in the world, and we have 97 different programs within those 19 countries. So again, we have a ton of things sort of spread out across the map. This is a look at everywhere that we work, working with many different types of community service, working with many different types of programs. And so the best thing for you to do to find the right summer opportunity is just to get sort of more information about each and every one of those countries and each of those programs to sort of find that right fit for you. Tonight, like I said, this is the region that we're going to focus in. So we're really going to focus in Mongolia, China, and India, which is just sort of an interesting collection of countries because you're dealing with two of the biggest population countries in the world, and then Mongolia, which is the least densely populated country in the world. So all three countries have some really, really unique attributes and a really, really unique programming within those countries because of that. Our mission at Rustic Pathways is this. So we empower students through innovative and responsible travel experiences to positively impact lives and communities around the world. I think it's a really important mission to sort of highlight because at Rustic Pathways, first and foremost, we want to have transformative opportunities for students. We want them to be excited about travel. We want them to get to know the communities and cultures that we're in. Sometimes we do that through community service. Sometimes we do that through education programs. Sometimes we do it by doing the adventure activities and sort of pushing your boundaries of things that you may have not thought you would push yourself to do in the past. So all of our programming comes down to developing some of those positive impact opportunities for our students. But on top of that, we're really cognizant as an organization of having a positive impact in the communities and with the lives of people that we're interacting with in these countries themselves. We are all about sustainable travel in Rustic Pathways. So we want to make sure that we're not just a helicopter organization that sort of comes in 2 days before the start of the program, runs the trip, and heads, the next day out. All of our programs are really dedicated to long-term commitment and travel opportunities within these regions, so that we can also have a really positive impact with these communities that our students want to learn about while they travel. And then who are we? Rustic Pathways, there's really 3 different entities that I'm going to talk about when we discuss who Rustic Pathways is. It's going to be our staff, our students, and then the communities that we work with. When we talk about diverse leadership in Rustic Pathways, that's really a testament to some of the wonderful staff that we have spread out all across the world. So I mentioned that we work in 19 different countries. What really makes Rustic Pathways unique is that we have staff members that live, work 365 days a year in all of the countries that we work with. It means that we have, staff members from China, from India, from Mongolia, Costa Rica, Tanzania, running these programs and part of the management. We have, people with advanced photography degrees, people that work with animals, working on our conservation programs, people that are teachers that run programs during the summer. All of our staff come from really unique backgrounds so that we can have the most responsible but also best fit people on these programs, organizing and running the best possible trips for each of our students. Beyond just the wonderful staff members that we have at our programs, it's really about the communities that we partner with and some of the great nonprofits, educational institutes, schools, and just people that we work with on the ground. And this is a good opportunity for sort of Sunny and Amanda to talk about some of the community partners. So I'll first throw it to Amanda and see if she wants to talk about 1 or 2 of our community partners in China.
Absolutely. Thanks, Connor. So none of them are on the screen, but I'd like to feature Heart to Heart. It's a nonprofit that works in the Yunnan province. It's our newest community partner, but we're very excited about working with them and the opportunity to assist with helping migrant children in rural China. The second partner I'd like to focus on is East China Normal University, ECNU. They are the university where we run our language program. NYU also chooses them to run their study abroad program in China, and they're incredibly well respected. We have a really close relationship with the professors there, and they definitely support and grow with our students. I'll hand it over to Sunny now.
Thanks, Amanda. Our local partners in India is LHA Charitable, which is showing on the slide. This is in Mehrpurganj in northern part of India. Our Service in the Clouds program goes. This NGO is working with Tibetan refugees to provide them basic English language, computer education, which opens the door for different job opportunities for them. And we have been working with this organization since 2005, so it is really nice and established organization. Second NGO, what we are working with is Wildlife SOS. That's the Sloth Bear Conservation NGO. It is the biggest NGO in India, and it is located in Agra, and they have more than 250 sloth bears in facilities. So again, really established and a great organization. So whenever people go over there, they really feel like this NGO is something really authentic and trying to help animals. Yeah.
Awesome, great. Thanks, Amanda and Sunny. I think what's really cool about these local partners that we have Some of the community service projects or education projects are all run by Rustic Pathways through our nonprofit organization, the Rustic Pathways Foundation. And some of them are done through these local partners or charitable trusts or NGOs. Because what I talked about before is that Rustic Pathways is really involved in the idea of sustainable development in these regions. And what we really want to work towards in international development programs like these is not just going to a community and saying, we're going to build a school or we're going to teach you English, but really working within those communities and asking these NGOs or nonprofits or community members or village leaders, what do you need? What could help you develop your community, help students or help the environment, or whatever it is, the type of project that we're working with. And sometimes we do that through the Rustic Pathways Foundation, and sometimes we do it through these local partners. So that way we can bring, again, that meaningful experience to the students, but also have, again, that positive impact, through change through some of these local partnerships. And then finally, the last part of the component of who Rustic Pathways is just passionate students. So we wouldn't be who we are without the students that care about want to see in the world and want to make a better change for both themselves and the people that they're visiting and meeting. Again, you heard me talk about it a little bit earlier, but we have so many different programs that really the best part of our trips is that a student can self-identify a project that they can read about in the catalog or see on the website or hear in a webinar and say, this has my name written all over it. It means that our programs are absolutely full of, people that want to become professional photographers on our photography programs, people that want to learn about science and conservation in college going on our Panda Conservation trip, people that want to work in nonprofit or just volunteer and be a better person going on our Service in the Clouds program in India because they care about educational improvement for students around the world. So beyond just the great programming and interesting programs that we do, all of our trips are sort of filled with these amazing students trying to do those good things for other people in the world. And so now we're going to move a little bit more towards talking about like the community service, just because I think that's a really big highlight of Rustic Pathways as well, is just our commitment to community service. So of the 97 programs that I mentioned that we run, about 70 to 75% of those have a community service component to it. These are sort of the 6 different areas that we'll work with in community service. Education, which is usually working on like tutoring programs or helping improve education and leadership within youth around the world. Infrastructure programs, which are really about rebuilding homes that may have been destroyed in sort of weather-related issues or just for some underprivileged families. It could be building a school, those kind of projects. Community health, we have a couple programs around the world that focus on preventative health medicine. So this would be screening things for young students and elderly individuals who may be at risk for diabetes or poor vision. So our students can engage in some of those entry-level screening techniques to sort of improve overall community health. Environmental projects, those are projects like reforestation, improving national parks, removing invasive species from national parks, and really just overall helping different ecosystems and environments around the world. Social development programs, these would be sort of a mixed bag of programs, but this could be something like cooking meals and delivering them to underprivileged families. It could be families that don't have access to water within their community, so building some pipes to sort of get to those families, or it could be microfinancing projects. We work with a program in Peru that helps build guinea pig hutches to sort of start small businesses for families. And then the last component, which we'll talk about on both India and China programs tonight, are animal welfare programs. And this is just directly working with any number of species on either scientific, research-based programs or rescue-based programs that work in helping abandoned or abused animals. So what I think, again, is so cool about Rustic Pathways is even when we talk about, yes, we do community service, that means so many different things in all of the communities and countries that we work in. Next, we're going to just move into more of the specifics about the presentation. So we're going to go into why would you choose China, India, or Mongolia? What do these regions have to offer, and what are these programs like? So we're going to have each of the country managers or country directors talk a little bit about their country, and then they're going to spend about a minute or two going over each of the programs. This is usually a time where people have a lot of questions. So if you came on tonight because you're interested in Panda Conservation or Service in the Clouds in India, if Sunny or Amanda don't get to the question specifically about like lodging or things like that, just type into the screen and we'll answer them towards the end of the presentation. So now I'm going to throw it over to Amanda, who is going to talk to us about China.
Okay, guys, why China? Hopefully, well, I don't want to say hopefully all of you want to come to China, but maybe most of you. China is one of the oldest civilizations on Earth. Trying to explain China in one specific region is like saying all people from the United States are from a city like New York City. And I think it's really important to be able to experience this culture, experience the variety in every place that you're going to. So I guess I'm going to kind of keep that theme going through our programs, kind of explain that a little deeper, but China is just a really diverse place, and kind of like the US, it's such a giant country that you can't just sum it up in one or two words. So I'll dive into our language program. So we have a language immersion program. I was just talking about East China Normal University. That is based in Shanghai. And what's great about Shanghai is that it's a young and vibrant city, and it has a lot of people from all over China moving to Shanghai. And so you're not just engaging with Shanghainese culture, you're engaging with people from all over China, and you're trying different foods from all over China. And obviously you're taking language immersion classes in the morning, but then in the afternoon you get to go out and explore Shanghai. So whether that's a scavenger hunt around a silk market, or whether that's going to the urban planning center and understanding the history of Shanghai and the future of Shanghai, or we have an afternoon activity that's planned for every day after class to kind of immerse you not just into Shanghai and to immerse you into that one niche, but to understand China as a larger whole. At the end of that program, you go out to Hangzhou, and you bicycle around and it's kind of a nice, you get out of the hustle and bustle of the city, and you get to be in more of a bucolic, it's another city as well, we would say in the United States, but it's definitely much smaller than Shanghai. And so that's our language program. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out. Our Marvels program, I love to highlight, I would say that our Marvels program is the wow factors of China. And so we go visit the Great Wall, we visit the Forbidden City. The Forbidden City is the place where the Emperor in Mulan at the end walks down those steps. It's the picture that you see in the bottom left hand of the screen. It's where a lot of Chinese history and politics have happened. It's definitely worth a visit for just its grandiosity. You visit Tiananmen Square, and we get to talk about the history of China. We get to talk about the evolution of China from ancient China to modern day politics, and you get to learn a lot about Chinese culture. Then you go to the Terracotta Warriors in Xi'an, and we get to explore that for a day, and then we get to finish in Shanghai. So you get those major experiences, and I would say that it's definitely worth a look. And if you're contemplating another program, I would say that if you can, this is a really great add-on, because it's really great to say, oh, I did see the Great Wall of China. The next program I'm going to dive into is our Panda Conservation in Wild China. So our Panda Conservation project is really great because you're going to be learning from panda experts. China is the owner of all pandas, and our Wolong Nature Reserve area is the largest holder of pandas in the world. It has about 70 pandas. And you get to work hands-on with Panda Masters, which is an actual job title, and you get to feed pandas, you get to clean their enclosures, you get to just be able to watch and experience them and learn from these people who get to have hands-on panda experience every day. If you're really into animal conservation, the pandas are a national treasure to China, and they're really important, and they're really they're struggling in nature, and we'll be able to discuss that and what are the benefits of China investing all this money into helping them, and what could China do better. The second half of the Wild China portion of this trip, we get out of the larger areas and we go to the more rural parts of the Sichuan province. And so there's a lot of history involved in this, but they divided some of the Tibetan plateau and put it into the Sichuan province. And so we get a whole week to be able to explore a rural China where pandas naturally live, and we get to see what Tibetan communities look like. We're not going into Tibet, but staying in the Sichuan province, but Tibetan culture looks like, and get to be out in nature and see a completely different side of China than people expect when you go to China. And then you have a last day in Shanghai because it's great to see one of those big, fantastic cities. Our last and newest program that I'm excited to talk about is our Silk Road service. This is going to be the first year it's running, and this is a beautiful and really wonderful program. We are going to be heading to Kunming initially, and we're going to be working with the Heart to Heart Foundation with migrant children in China. And this is an issue we will talk about in length if you come on the program, but a lot of parents are classed into an education. Because of their education, they are not allowed to have many jobs. They can only become migrant workers. And so those parents have to generally leave whatever town their families are living in could be hours at a time, could be days at a time. And they leave their children in homes and maybe with loved ones, but maybe not. And so those children are left to fend for themselves. And it's a major problem in China. It's a major problem with the education system. It's a major problem with the view of minorities in China. And we will get into that if you want to come on this wonderful program. But we will work with those migrant children, and we'd go, for those days, we'd teach team building, and we teach trust with the heart staff. And we work with them. And sometimes we play games, and that doesn't really count as service, but it's still fun anyway. And sometimes we'll take a cooking class with the migrant children and with us. And so everyone learns how to cook, and everyone gets a really healthy and delicious meal. From there, we head we head through the Yunnan province. We continue continue to see, work with other migrant children minorities, and we also get to see a lot of rural China. We visit all these smaller villages and get to see the natural beauty of China. So this is in the Yunnan province. This is very rural, very different than when you think of Beijing or Shanghai. This is the complete opposite. You're seeing these mountains, you're seeing just that open space. It's definitely something that can blow your mind if you're only used to hearing the big cities of China. I think that's it.
Awesome, cool. Thanks so much, Amanda. We'll now move over to Sunny so he can talk to you a little bit about India.
Thanks, Connor. Why India? So India is a land of more than 33 million gods and goddesses. Like as Amanda mentioned, like India and China holds the most of the population of the earth. India has history more than 5,000 years. And the most amazing fact about India, it is after every 50 miles, local lingo changes, dressing style changes, cooking style changes. So it is really diverse. So it is as well as it is really diverse. Like if you are in northern part of India, you will find Tibetan and Nepali influence in the Himalayas. And as you go one state south, you will find beautiful Hindu temples and mosques. Sikh gurudwaras as well as Buddhist monastery, all in one country. The the most beautiful thing about is the vibrant culture and the colorful of India. Uh, and whenever people are meeting these wonderful people, they remember they remember the glimpse and the warmth of those people. Like you can't wash them off all of a sudden. It will be with the particular person for couple of years. So yeah, that was why India, and my colleague Divya would be talking about Children of India program. Over to Divya.
Thanks, Sunny. So hi everyone. Children of India is one of the intense service program we have in India. So this year we have shifted it to a new city. It's called the Blue City. It's in Rajasthan, and we work really closely with a local school here on the first half, and second half our focus is on working for environmental enrichment, wherein like we'll be helping Jodhpur is in Rajasthan, and Rajasthan is a desert area in India which has a less water supply compared to other parts of India. So our aim is to work with an organization which helps in cleaning the step wells in Rajasthan, wherein like to make the area self-sustained and have good water reserve. And we work closely with the children of the local school there, so that it's an education for them to make them aware about the resources they have and how to utilize it, as well as we work closely with the teachers there and get an idea about their curriculum, what needs to be taught, and all the information are collected prior, and then we will work on certain activities and games which along with the Rustic students we execute there, and are being really great success there. So that's about Children of India, where we spend, it's a 1-week program. Everyone arrives in Delhi, and then we go to Jodhpur for a week. So now moving on to Dancing Bear project. So as in says, Dancing Bear was the name given to it used to be a common practice in rural Indian villages, where you will see like a man beating a drum and a bear dancing. So that was like a really great entertainment for the villagers, and they used to give money to the person who bring the bear. And later it has been brought to light that like how actually the bear cubs are taken away from their mom at a really young age and are being tortured and put into situations where they are like actually literally scared, and they are they're not dancing, they're actually scared because of the beating of the drum and the hot iron rod in which they are put in, and the memory of that keeps them shake their hands and legs, which looks like the bears are dancing. So the community which used to do this is called Kalandar community, and the Wildlife SOS is the greatest organization which came forward and put focus on this and made aware to the community that what they're doing is like a torture to animal and how it is affecting the wildlife of India and all that. So they now have a facility in Agra which takes in around like 250 sloth bears, and the community which used to capture this bear cubs are now working as the facilitators and the caretakers of this bear. So it is a beautiful transformation. Then the students can see the change in the community, the education which is brought in. So they work closely in conservation projects and building in like management facilities for the bear, and it is really exciting to see that like you're actually teaching a bear how to be a bear, because they're being taken away from their mom and being kept in the human facility that they're only used to eating from the plates. They don't know how to hunt for honey or like how to hunt for fruit. So you're building enrichments wherein the bear is taught how to be in the wild. So it's a beautiful program wherein the kids get to build in this enrichment, work closely with the organization, and get to know more about the community. So it's happening in Agra, and as usual, the group arrives in Delhi, and we spend a week in Agra. Yeah, that's about Dancing Bear. And we have Himalayan photo expedition, which Sunny would be telling you guys about it.
Thank you, Divya. Himalayan Photo Expedition is a 2-week program. It starts from Delhi, and we go in Ladakh region, which is in Himalayas, north of India. It is the land of some of the, or I could say the home of the highest lakes in the world. Huge passes, beautiful picturesque views. On this program, basically students who are interested into photography, they learn how to handle their cameras, equipments, when to click photograph, as well as develop their leadership skills on this program. This program is a beautiful mix of Himalayan and Tibetan culture, what students experience over there. It has some of the highest mountainous passes in the world. So as well as it is, I could say it is the most rustic trip in India, what we run. So people, kids get a chance to stay with the homestay families on this program, as well as camping. They go camping, and in the end, they also go and visit beautiful site of Taj Mahal. It is all in one, in 2 weeks. It is happening in 2 weeks, and it is also showing it is in India. Basically, it is in all Himalayan regions, so it has more Tibetan influence. So our next program is Namaste India. This is again a week's program. It is a program what could experience India in two sense, because you are traveling from north to south all in 2 weeks. Because it is a huge cultural exploration because on this program, trip starts from New Delhi and visits these sites. Or I could say the Map India program, you could visit the Delhi sites. At the same point of time, you're witnessing religions, language, culture, food, all across north to south. So on each and every day, we have a different religious coming and talking about different cultures. There would be different guides explaining about the history of India, and the best part about is Indian food and culture. So you would be witnessing tandoori chicken, chicken tikka masala, some naans, to delicious South India's seafood, which is really famous for crabs and all that stuff. It is really amazing. I could feel the water in my mouth right now. And the activity people would be doing on this program, they would be witnessing historical monuments, exploring mountains. They would be staying on a houseboat, as well as swimming in the backwaters with witnessing the tea plantation. They would have a chance to make do an activity of bangle making, and they would also be camping, but that is optional. That is Namaste India, and Divya will talk about Surfs in the Clouds. That is the last program of India.
Thanks, Sunny. So service in the cloud again is one of the most popular and intense service program we have. It's a 2-week program. Again, starts from Delhi. Then we have a long 13-hour drive actually to the Himalayas. So once we reach the foothills of Dholadhar Range, we would be staying in the Tibetan settlement. The best part about this program is the experience you get from the homestay families. So it's a 1-week in McLeodganj, where it is a Tibetan settlement and completely immersed into the culture, where the students get to stay with the Tibetan families. And we work closely with LHA, which is into giving the basic help for the refugees who are settling down in India from Tibet, especially with English language education, as well as some of the job skills which is required to survive in India. So we work really closely with LHA and come up with different activities which would help the students work closely with the refugees and help them in developing basic skills in English communication as well as other language skills. And we also, it is an opportunity where His Holiness Dalai Lama is settled. So most of the groups get an opportunity to have a visit when he's doing his teaching in the temple. And from there, they would shift gears and go drive a little further and go to a Nepali Gadi village, wherein again it's a homestay experience, but with a different twist. It's more Nepali community which lives there, so language changes, the culture changes, the dressing change. So the students get to experience 2 different culture of which actually is not real India, but is as much as a part of India now. So it is really a good culturally immersive and a culturally rich program, wherein here they would work closely with the villagers and help construct toilet to the families we not afford. So it's an development project that we involve in this village. And yeah, overall, it's a great program of 2 weeks and with great culture and infrastructural help. Yeah, I think that's about service in the clouds.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Sunny and Divya. That was great. Perfect. So we'll move on to our next section, which is Mongolia. And our Mongolia country director, Gaia Bonini, couldn't be here tonight because she's actually lucky and running a trip in Tanzania this evening. So I'll talk a little bit about Mongolia, having run trips there in the past. Mongolia is a really fascinating country. It's sort of the opposite of what Divya, Sunny, and Amanda have been talking about, because those are 2 very large countries in terms of population. Mongolia is the least densely populated country in the world. So a place like Ulaanbaatar is also one of the coldest capitals in the entire world. So it becomes just this vast, vast open area with not very many people sort of spread out throughout the land. And it's very much so a world of yesterday a little bit, in terms of like there's not a lot of technology like strung throughout the cities or small village populations. You don't see as much like electricity in a lot of areas. You don't see like TVs in every home. It's a lot of riding on horseback from one program to the other, agriculture, sort of living off the land, very rugged, very sort of rural type programs. So of everything that we've talked about tonight so far, Mongolia is for sure the most sort of like rugged, outdoor, least technology driven or like technological advances that you're going to see between all of the programs. And overall, it's just one of the most rugged programs that we have in all of Rustic Pathways. The one program that we run here is called Off the Map Mongolia. It's a 3-week program, and it really focuses on really experiencing many, many different parts of Mongolian life and culture. So we'll spend our first couple days in Terelj National Park. We'll do some hikes. We'll just try and climb up to mountain peaks. It's a very fun program in terms of setting our own course. We'll talk to students about sort of setting challenges and looking for mountains in the national park that we know are climbable, and having them sort of pick the path up the mountain for some really pretty views. We'll live in gers, which you can see in this picture. It's that little white building in the upper left-hand part of that picture. But they're sort of designed for nomadic people, so they can be built and taken down relatively quickly. They're all heated by sort of wood-burning stoves. Like I mentioned, no electricity in the gers, so it's much more of like a rural, rugged sort of living experience. All of the toilets and restrooms, it's all outdoor squat toilets. So like I said, very, very sort of off the map, and the program is right for someone who wants a little bit more of that rugged experience. After spending some time in the national park in Terelj, we'll fly out more towards Western Mongolia, which is where we'll work on a lot of our community service projects. The community service project that we work with is working with the school system in Western Tanzania. As I mentioned, just because there's not a lot of people in Tanzania, one, the educational system is a little bit more difficult because there's not a school that can be centrally located in a lot of these communities that's easily accessible for students to get to. So there certainly are students that attend school, but it's also pretty common for a student just to not attend because they didn't want to walk the 2 to 2.5 miles to school that day. It also sometimes leads to students who aren't as far along in their education as similar students their age might be in other countries, often just because there's sometimes less school time and there's less interaction with their peers, because when they do go to school, they're sort of designated to periods of light when they can walk to and from school, and then just go home and aren't necessarily playing, engaging, working on homework with students their age. So a lot of our program works on developing leadership skills within those students and running a summer camp program for them as sort of a fun, different educational opportunity that they wouldn't otherwise get in the school system, and to sort of encourage them to have more social interaction with their peers and also develop more independent thinking, creative problem solving, those type of things within their educational development. We'll also work a little bit on some hygiene programs for students. Again, it's just not as developed as an area. So a lot of times we're missing some basic educational structures about like dental care within the communities. And so our project partner in Mongolia also works a lot in developing these leadership and tutoring skills on a program. But also we do it while highlighting some of the dental hygiene program for the students as well in these areas. The rest of the time there is also spent in national parks. Like I said, it's very, very much about like hiking, exploring, spending times with some of the homestay families that are hosting us in their gers. So very rural and rugged, but also one of the most beautiful countries and interesting people to sort of interact with in Rustic Pathways. So now we've talked about all three of those countries, we're going to move a little bit on to just sort of what's next. So a lot of people are attending this, haven't necessarily decided on one program or sort of in that process of where do we go. And so we're going to move on to sort of those next steps about who you are as a student, what's the story you're going to tell, how do you get started in sort of the next step process with Rustic Pathways. If you're looking to sign up for a program, it's very, very easy to do. This is just a screenshot of our website. You can see here the upper right-hand corner of any page on our website is going to have this little yellow button that just says Enroll Now. All you have to do is click that. It'll take you to our online application. It takes about 15 minutes to fill out the application. It's basic demographic information, so student name, parent name, home address, email address, what program are you signing up for, all those kind of good things. Once you submit your application, you'll get an automatic confirmation from us. Thank you that we've received your application. And then about 1 to 2 business days later, you're going to receive more information about your specific trip from your personal travel advisor. And I'll go over that in one of the next slides. While you're looking for the program, it's also really important to look at the availability for those programs and know some of the deadlines. So in any of the programs that we mentioned today, when you click on that program on our website, it's going to show you that the program is available, limited, very limited, or sold out. If a program is sold out, unfortunately, we're not able to take any more students on the program. Each trip is going to max out at a different number of students. So some will max out at a maximum of 5 or 6 students per program, and some will go all the way up to 32 students per program. It really depends on the individual program itself. So it's really important to sort of look at that availability. A program gets marked as limited when half the program is full. It gets marked as very limited when there's only 1 to 3 spots left. And then again, it's sold out when all of the spots are taken. In terms of deadlines for Rustic Pathways, there's no finite deadline of when you have to sign up for a program. The biggest sort of thing to keep in mind is that many of our programs and a lot of our countries will sell out every single session all throughout the summer. So as I mentioned, sort of when it hits that maximum capacity, we're unable to allow more students on that week of that program. And the most popular time for people to sign up is going to be right around mid-March when spring breaks start to happen. That's when we sort of see this huge rush of parents and students calling in, emailing, trying to submit applications, just because they sort of see, spring break has come up, it's past us, and now the next thing is summer, so we have to plan. So this right now is the absolute best time to sign up for a program because it's when the most amount of spots are still going to be available for people. And also to keep in mind is that our application fee is typically $100 to sign up for the program, and that's going to go up to $200 this Sunday, so February 28th. So if you're sort of right there and you're pretty sure of your program, you just have 1 or 2 final questions to answer or to ask and answer before signing up. Try and do that this week before that application fee goes up. And also, I think y'all probably received an email for anyone attending the webinar tonight. So for all of you people, as a thank you for attending the webinar and getting some more information, we'll waive that application fee for you. So starting tomorrow morning, we'll send out an email thanking you for attending the webinar and a special link that you can click to have the application fee waived. Make sure that you click the link that comes to your email inbox, and then it automatically will just sort of take off that $100 application fee from you as long as you submit the application before this Sunday. Next thing to go is about flights. So it's important to note that all of our flights within Rustic Pathways, there are no DIY flights or do-it-yourself flights. All of the flights are escorted, and there are flights from the United States to every country that we fly to. So for China, the group flight leaves out of Los Angeles. For India, it leaves out of Newark, New Jersey. And then for Mongolia, it also leaves out of Los Angeles and it routes via China. So it'll go first to Shanghai as well. All of our students are required to be on those group flights. So if you're coming from the United States, say from Chicago, you'll arrange your own domestic airfare. So that'll be the flight that you arrange on your own from, say, Chicago to Los Angeles. And then Rustic Pathways will book all of the international flights from the United States to that country. If you want to know the price for those flights, it's all listed on the website. So when you look at the price of a program, it'll list the cost of the individual trip and say plus airfare. If you click on that word airfare, it'll give you more details about the group flight to that country, as well as the price for that individual program. A couple of the programs will as well have internal airfare. So as we mentioned through some of the country slides, there'll be an escorted flight from, say, Los Angeles to Shanghai. But for the Panda program, you may fly from Shanghai to Chengdu to do that individual program. That'll also all be listed on the program page. And any flights that happen within a country, so within China, within Mongolia, within India, Rustic Pathways will also book those flights. This is personal travel advisors. So this is sort of that next step after you submit that application. 1 to 2 days after you submit that application, you'll get a welcome letter from from your personal travel advisor. So this is a team of about 10 people that we have in our office in Ohio, and they are going to help you with everything you need to know prior to departure. So if you have a question about, what time is the international flight so I can book my domestic flight, what's the weather like in China because I want to know what to pack, if you have a question about filling out paperwork and you're confused about a question on the medical form, this is the person that you are always going to be able to reach out to, and they'll be able to answer anything you want pre-departure. That way you don't have to email, someone from China and then our finance department and then someone from our forms team. Your personal travel advisor will be able to get you the answers to any of the questions that you have prior to your program. And it's just a much easier way for our students and families to sort of quickly get all the answers to their questions before your trip abroad. And that's pretty much it. That's a lot of the basics about Rustic Pathways, our programs, how to get signed up. So now is definitely the time where we're going to open up to some of the questions that we received here. If you have any more questions, either specific or general, ask them now. I'll send in a quick question that I see, and I'll throw it over to Amanda. And I have a question just about how do I know if this is a good first-time program for me? Or how do I know that this program is the right trip?
And so, thanks, Connor. We have it listed on the program, whether or not it's good for first-timers or if it's good for people who are a little bit more looking for a challenge or looking for like a photography. Whatever you're looking for, it'll be noted on the website. And I would also say that I can speak for China that our programs are good for first-timers who have an open mind for different food.
Awesome, great. And then I see another question here about how do we know group size? Like I said, this is something variable, so it's just as easy as sending an email to either me or rustic@rusticpathways.com, and we can certainly answer any of those questions for you. So if you want to know, how many people are on the Panda Conservation project, we're able to tell you what's the maximum number on that program, and we can also give you non-identifying information of who else is signed up. So we can tell you, there's 5 boys and 10 girls. Their average age is like 16 years old, and it looks like they're coming from all over the United States. And 2, students from, one from Europe and one from South America. So any specifics like that, just send us an email or give us a call, and we can easily answer those about each of the programs. And then I have a question I'll throw out to Sunny as well. So Sunny, what should someone do? Just a question here about preparing for their trip. So are there any books that you should read? What tips or suggestions do you have for someone once they've signed up for a trip to just sort of mentally get prepared and ready for their program? And we maybe lost Sunny. Are you still there, Amanda? Can you take that question about what to do to prepare for your trip once they've signed up?
Sure, absolutely. Did we get Sunny back? No. Okay, absolutely. So what we tend to do from Team China is send out a reading list of different articles and different books that you could read before you come to China about a month before. Anything that has to do with your program is going to definitely be beneficial, and if you reach out to your personal travel advisor, we can always send that list on ahead of time, so that if you're really gung-ho to read a bunch of books and a lot of different articles that are going to specifically address on your program, they would be able to give that to you in advance.
Awesome, perfect. And it looks like that's all the questions that I have. I think the other ones that came in, we sort of answered throughout the presentation. So that's going to close it off for us tonight. Like I said, if you have any other questions after this presentation, you can email us here at hello@rusticpathways.com or rustic@rusticpathways.com. You can call us anytime. Any one of us is more than happy to sort of answer your questions. But I'll just take this moment to sort of thank Amanda and thank Sunny and Divya for their time. Y'all gave great information about China and India. And I think it really helped everyone. And thank you to all of you all for attending. We really hope it helped sort of make a decision if this was a good program fit for you. And feel free to follow up with any further questions that you have. And we're excited to see you this summer. Thanks so much, everyone, and have a wonderful night.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Connor.
Thanks, guys.